Life can often feel overwhelming, with challenges and chaos constantly thrown our way. These struggles may sometimes seem to define us, shaping not only our external circumstances, but also affecting our inner peace and well-being. However, what if there was a different way to approach life's inevitable difficulties? The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus offers profound insights into how we can better handle pain and adversity. His teachings, though over 2,000 years old, are just as relevant today as they were in the ancient world. Before we dive deeper into these timeless lessons, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on the next video, where we explore more about Stoic wisdom and its practical applications. Now, let's continue with Epictetus's teachings and see how we can apply them to our modern lives. The foundation of Stoic philosophy: what we can and cannot control. At the heart of Epictetus's philosophy lies the concept known as the dichotomy of control, a fundamental distinction between what is within our power and what is not. This idea is simple yet powerful. Epictetus argues that most of our suffering comes from trying to control things that are, in fact, beyond our reach. Things like external events, other people's opinions, or the outcomes of our efforts. On the flip side, peace and contentment arise when we focus on what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, and how we choose to react to the world around us. As Epictetus famously stated, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This perspective encourages us to shift our attention inward, recognizing that while we cannot dictate the course of events or the actions of others, we have complete agency over how we choose to respond. This insight forms the foundation for a resilient, peaceful existence amidst the chaos of life. Applying the dichotomy of control in everyday life. To better understand how the dichotomy of control operates, let's break it down into more concrete examples. Imagine you're stuck in traffic. The traffic itself is outside of your control. No matter how much frustration you feel, you cannot move the cars any faster. What is within your control, however, is how you respond to that situation. Do you allow yourself to become consumed by anger and impatience, or do you take a deep breath, accept the delay, and perhaps use the time to listen to an audiobook or reflect on your day? Epictetus teaches that by mastering this distinction, focusing only on what we can influence, we cultivate a sense of freedom that transcends the circumstances we find ourselves in. This practice is not about suppressing emotions, but about channeling them productively. Anger, sadness, and fear are natural responses, but through the lens of Stoicism, we learn to manage these emotions without letting them dictate our actions. Why we suffer: clinging to what we cannot control. One of the primary sources of human suffering, according to Epictetus, is our attachment to things that are transient and outside of our control, whether it's material possessions, the approval of others, or our physical health. We often cling to these external factors as though our happiness depends entirely on them. But the problem with this approach is that these things are inherently unstable. Possessions can be lost, reputations can be tarnished, and health inevitably declines with age. Epictetus gives a striking example of this when he speaks about the concept of exile. For many, the thought of being exiled from one's home and separated from loved ones is a great tragedy. However, Epictetus argues that while exile is not within our control, how we respond to it is. If we fixate on the idea of loss, we suffer. But if we accept that nothing is permanent and that all things are borrowed rather than owned, we can face even the most challenging circumstances with equanimity. As he puts it, never say of anything, "I have lost it," but "I have returned it." This shift in perspective from ownership to temporary stewardship releases us from the pain of attachment. When we realize that everything we have is ultimately on loan from the universe, we can appreciate it while it's here and let it go when it's time, without suffering unnecessarily. Viktor Frankl and the Power of Choice. It's worth noting that Epictetus's ideas about control and acceptance resonate with more modern thinkers as well. One notable example is Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor whose work in Man's Search for Meaning echoes many Stoic principles. Frankl argued that even in the most dire of circumstances, we still have the freedom to choose our attitude. While we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we interpret and respond to those events. This, Frankl believed, is where true personal freedom lies. For Frankl, this philosophy was not merely theoretical, he lived it. During his time in Nazi concentration camps, Frankl observed that those who found meaning, even in their suffering, were more likely to survive. This echoes Epictetus's idea that we can endure any external hardship if we focus on the internal locus of control, our ability to shape our mindset and reactions. Mindfulness, a modern application of Stoic principles. In recent years, the practice of mindfulness has gained significant traction in psychology and wellness circles, and it aligns beautifully with Epictetus's Stoic philosophy. Mindfulness is about cultivating awareness of the present moment without judgment, an approach that encourages us to observe our thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them. As Jon Kabat-Zinn, a pioneer in the field of mindfulness, explains, it's about paying attention in a particular way, on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. This practice mirrors Epictetus's call to let go of attachment to outcomes and to focus instead on our reactions. When we stop clinging to thoughts and emotions, we allow ourselves the freedom to experience them fully without letting them control us. This practice of mindful detachment, observing without reacting, is key to living a life of peace and resilience. By grounding ourselves in the present and focusing on what is within our control, we can navigate life's challenges with greater clarity and composure. Embracing uncertainty, letting go of clinging to outcomes. A significant part of Stoic wisdom involves accepting the inherent uncertainty of life. As Epictetus teaches, we must stop clinging to outcomes. We often set rigid expectations for how things should unfold, and when reality doesn't align with those expectations, we experience disappointment and frustration. But, as Epictetus reminds us, the outcomes themselves are rarely within our control. Whether it's the success of a business venture, the health of a loved one, or even our own physical well-being, these factors are influenced by a host of external forces beyond our influence. What is within our control is how we approach these uncertainties. Epictetus urges us to embrace the flow of life as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. He famously said, "Wish that things happen as they do happen." This shift in perspective allows us to let go of the anxiety that comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. Instead of resisting reality, we learn to align our desires with the natural course of events, creating a sense of inner peace. Building resilience through self-discipline. At the core of Epictetus's teachings is the notion that resilience is built through self-discipline. Life will throw challenges our way, there's no avoiding that, but how we respond to those challenges determines whether we grow from them or crumble under their weight. Epictetus encourages us to cultivate self-discipline by focusing on the things we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions. By practicing this discipline daily, we become better equipped to handle adversity with grace. We learn to see hardships not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. This idea is echoed by the modern concept of post-traumatic growth, which suggests that individuals can emerge from adversity stronger and more resilient. By shifting our perspective, we can use difficult experiences to cultivate virtues like patience, fortitude, and humility, qualities that enable us to live more fulfilling lives. Acceptance and personal growth. Another key aspect of Epictetus's philosophy is the power of acceptance. Accepting what we cannot change is not a passive act of resignation, but an active process of focusing our energy on what truly matters. By letting go of our desire to control everything, we free up mental and emotional space to focus on personal growth and development. This idea is particularly relevant in today's fast-paced world, where we are constantly bombarded by external pressures and expectations. By recognizing that we cannot control the opinions of others or the outcomes of our efforts, we can redirect our energy toward self-improvement and inner peace. As Tony Robbins, a well-known motivational speaker, often says, "Where focus goes, energy flows." By focusing on the aspects of our lives that we can influence, our habits, our mindset, and our reactions, we create a foundation for long-term resilience and happiness. Practicing emotional detachment. Epictetus also emphasizes the importance of emotional detachment from material possessions and societal opinions. This doesn't mean we shouldn't care about anything, but rather that we should care in the right way. When we become too attached to things that are outside of our control, we set ourselves up for disappointment and emotional turmoil. Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, famously said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Much of our pain comes not from actual events, but from our fear of losing what we have or not getting what we want. By practicing emotional detachment, we free ourselves from this cycle of anxiety and suffering. This principle can be applied to every area of life. Whether it's our careers, relationships, or personal goals, the key is to approach them with a sense of balance. We can pursue our ambitions and enjoy our successes, but we must also be prepared to let go when circumstances change. The path to true happiness. Ultimately, Epictetus teaches that true happiness comes not from external circumstances, but from our internal state of mind. By focusing on what we can control, accepting what we cannot, and practicing emotional detachment, we create a stable foundation for lasting peace and contentment. In conclusion, Epictetus's timeless wisdom teaches us that when we stop clinging to things outside our control, we create space for inner peace and true happiness. By focusing on what we can control, our reactions, our mindset, and our attitude, we can navigate life's challenges with strength and resilience. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please like, comment, stop clinging, and share this video with your friends and loved ones. Help them find the same insights and values in Stoic philosophy that you've experienced today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more content on Stoicism and personal growth.